Well, last week I got to visit the 2009 Diggers and Dealers Convention in Kalgoorlie. It's a 3-day event, and we saw probably 40 companies presenting and quite a few others with booths there, telling their stories, selling their wares, and allowing us to catch up with what's gone on over the past year. The thing about going to Diggers and Dealers and listening to those companies presenting, particularly if they're the companies that you're quite familiar with, you can see the significant progress that's been made over the last 12 months. Despite the volatility that we saw in the second half of last year, most of the companies have really been able to achieve a lot. That's either consolidating tenements, building new mines, increasing their reserves through exploration, looking at other exploration that's led to new discoveries. And I was particularly impressed with what had been achieved in terms of consolidation of tenements and also exploration. Some really good companies have shown that they've been able to make excellent progress over the last year. In terms of what was on there, the sectors are iron ore. The iron ore sector is becoming quite significant. Instead of it just being BHP and Rio and one or two others, there's a plethora of players, and it's difficult to assess what's the best value, but we know that there are a number of groups out there that do look to have good operations and provide excellent relative value. There are a number of companies which are looking at sort of 1 to 2 million tonnes per annum project developments, often with a partner, often Chinese partner, fitting in with existing infrastructure or being able to tie in with a bigger player. We're also seeing the development of some new standalone projects requiring infrastructure developments. Things that I did like there were Grange Resources with its project in Tasmania that pelletised iron ore. That project's been running for about 40 years, so it's had a long history, but it's still running at about 1.5 million tonnes, and they've got another project which they would like to develop along the same lines around Albany. So that looks really quite exciting. A little company called BC Iron, that looks very interesting with its projects. Start up quite soon, a JV with FMG. And the other one that I like, Flinders Mines, with potential of a very, very large resource. These companies, I think, have got excellent valuations. Investment arithmetic makes them look particularly good. On the nickel side, where we've seen more exploration in these brownfield sites, great performances by Mincor, Independence, Western Areas, and of course that new entrant Mirabilla. Nickel prices touched $20,000 a tonne again this week, and it looks as if we'll probably see better nickel prices going forward as we go into the second half of the year after the Northern Hemisphere holiday. Those sorts of companies that I mentioned, I think, are extremely well placed. Mincor in particular, good earnings, good cost structure, a strong addition to resources. Exploration has been impressive. On the gold side, again, the feature there was consolidation of tenements and development of new projects, exploration. Norton Goldfields look very, very good. Integra looks outstanding. Avoca looks outstanding. And we saw things outside of Western Australia with the development in the Northern Territory around Tennant Creek, with companies like Emerson Resources and West Gold and Little Truscott Mining, which sort of fits in there. Those companies, I think, are redeveloping areas that have been just only treated very shallowly with exploration in terms of drilling depth, but more importantly, there hasn't been very much exploration for over 20 years, despite the level of gold price we've seen in recent times. That consolidation is also taking place in other parts of the country, but Tennant Creek area looks really interesting, and that stuff around Kalgoorlie. In terms of copper, we saw a really good story from Ivanhoe Australia, obviously with its molybdenum rhenium project, but as part of a copper area. Consolidation of tenements again, new exploration programs that are actually spending money drilling, and they look particularly good. We also saw Panos and Equinox with projects in Laos and Zambia respectively. New projects, companies going places and growing with good long-term futures. Also, I went to see Clancy Exploration, a company we floated a couple of years ago. They're doing some very, very good work in New South Wales. It looks good. As far as the other players, lots of action, I think, but the themes are consolidation of tenements, making stronger companies, more exploration. Exploration dollars will bring success as people look at deeper things. Diggers and Dealers is a long way. It's over in Kalgoorlie. We've got our Excellence in Mining and Exploration here in Sydney in September. It allows people to come along and see many of the same companies, but you don't have to give up the time to go out of Sydney or out of Melbourne. You can come here. It's reasonably civilised. Might not have the skimpy bars, but I'm sure you'll find that that'll be a very interesting conference. I'll be speaking there. Martin Place Securities has been the foundation sponsor of that for the last 4 or 5 years, and we're very proud to be associated with that. It's the Eastern form of Diggers and Dealers. Look forward to seeing you there.